everyone, and welcome to Kiki Crochet. In this video tutorial we're going to learn how to crochet step by step these beautiful slippers. They're made on a leather base and we crochet the top part and we adjust it on here. I would like to give a big thanks to Magenta Arty Workshop, which is a store here in Greece, but they send their material worldwide, for sending out this beautiful material so we could make our slippers. Now before we start with the slippers, I want to show the chart that I made that will help you to crochet for any sizes that you prefer. Okay, those up here are European sizes and they start from size 21 to 23 and they finish to size 39 to 41. Now this is what we're going to crochet. We want to crochet a piece that has a T shape, and here's where we're going to start, over here. So I'm crocheting for a size 39 to 41 and I want the total width for the rib stitch to be 18 centimeters. I have made a sample with the rib stitch and with regular single crochet, and I have come about that to reach the 18 centimeters I need 34 chains to begin with. Okay, I need 34 chains to begin with, so the 34 chains are 33 single crochet, and for the size that I'm crocheting I need a total of 60 rows of single crochet. So I'm going to work 33 single crochet and a total of 60 rows with a rib stitch. Okay, now I need to know the width of the foot, and this comes about when we measure the total width of the base from one skein to the other on the inside part though, and this is how we get the measurements. So the measurement for the size I'm crocheting is 11 centimeters. So we have finished crocheting the rib stitch, okay, and I need the width to be 11 centimeters. So I want this part over here to be 11 centimeters. So the 11 centimeters, by making calculations with the samples that I've made, are a total of 20 single crochet. So I separate the stitches on the one side and on the other side to be equal, and I crochet 20 centimeters, 20 single crochet, in the center. Okay, now I want the total length of the piece that I'm crocheting. For the size that I'm crocheting, I want it to be 17 centimeters. When we're talking in rows of single crochet, I need a total of 34 rows of single crochet. Okay, out from which the 10 rows have to be the rows of the decreases. So I'm going to work 24 rows of 20 single crochet, and from row 25 to row 34 I'm going to work the decreases on my slipper. Okay, so now let's see the material that I'm going to use, what the package of the base is that we get, what it has inside, and the yarn that I'm going to use, and the crochet hook, and how to start with the slipper. Now let's see the material that we're going to use, and I'm starting with my base, which is from Prem, and this is for an adult size, European size 39 to 41. Okay, along with the bases, the company sends information about the pattern. You can knit the body of the slipper. You can make it by sewing a cloth. Okay, and on the back side they have a pattern how to cut the material. Okay, they have information on how to work a cross stitch in order to sew. But what we're going to do, I have already adjusted by testing the pattern on how to work it on crochet. Okay, all this information over here that the company states is how to do it by knitting, but we are going to do it by crochet. Okay, and I'm only showing the one slipper because the other one I've already crocheted to test the pattern. I'm going to crochet with a medium weight yarn, and it's called Grasmore DK. It's 45% acrylic and 25% wool. It's 100 grams each skein. I'm only going to need one skein for both slippers, and I'm going to crochet with a 4mm crochet hook. Now let's start. Now before we start crocheting, we need to take into account the information that the pattern gives us, and we need to adjust it on our project. Now, in order for us to know with how many stitches we need to work for every size and every measurement that the pattern gives us, we need to make a gauge, we need to make a sample. Okay, I made a sample with simple single crochet. I worked 10 single crochet. In order to have 10 single crochet, you need 11 chains, 10 single crochet and 10 rows. And the 10 single crochet gave me 5.5 centimeters width by 5 centimeters length, the 10 rows. I also made a sample with my ribbed stitch, okay, and ribbed stitch with single crochet, and the 10 single crochet gave me 5 centimeters width, and the 10 rows gave me 4.5 centimeters length. Now, for size 39 to 41 that I'm going to work, my pattern states that I need 18 centimeters width for my rib stitch. Okay, so in order to figure out how many stitches I need for 18 centimeters, I need to work an equation. I know many of us hate math, but this is the only way we can figure it out. So we're working an equation and we state 10 centimeters equal 10 single crochet equal 5.5 centimeters. How many single crochet do I need to reach 18 centimeters? We cross multiply 10 centimeters times 10 single crochet times 18 centimeters. So I have as a result 180 centimeters times single crochet. And I multiply 5.5 centimeters by x single crochet. So I have 5.5 centimeters times x single crochet. Now, when we're working an equation, we need to do whatever we do on the one side of the equal sign, we need to do it on the other side as well. And since I'm multiplying over here, in order to get rid of the 5.5 centimeter and the single crochet and have the x by itself, I'm going to need to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5.5 centimeters times single crochet, 5.5 centimeters times single crochet on the other side as well. So I get rid of the 5.5 centimeters and single crochet on the one side, so I have x by itself. And I get rid of the centimeters and the single crochet on the other side, and I do the division 80 divided by 5.5, 180 divided by 5.5, and the result is 32.72. I round to the next whole number, and I need 33 single crochet in order to reach my 18 centimeters. So in order to have 33 single crochet, I'm going to need to start with a total of 34 chains. And as the pattern mentions, for size 39 to 41, we need 60 rows to reach the desired length. Okay, well, the 68 that they have on the pattern is made with needles, and I guess they're working with a little thicker yarn. So with the yarn that we're using and the 4mm crochet hook, we're going to need 60 rows of the rib stitch. Okay, now the other half of the information over here, we're going to come back here when we reach that point of our slipper. Now let's go ahead and start. And I have already started with my 34 chains. Okay, and we're going to work the first row of single crochet. Now skip the first chain from the hook and go to the second one to work your first single crochet. 1, next chain, 2, next one, 3, 4, 5, and keep crocheting up until you have 33 single crochet. I've completed crocheting my 33 single crochet, and if your work is twisting, that's okay. It usually happens when we're working single crochet. Now we're going to start row number 2, and from here on up until you finish working the rib stitch, we are always going to be working on the back loops of the single crochet. So we're going to start row number 2 by chaining 1 and turn your work. Okay, now when we want to work on the back loops, I'm going to put my hook regularly on the single crochet as if I would work, the row of single crochet. Now this right here is my front loop, and this right here is my back loop. So when I see the stitch from the top, I'm going to be putting my hook in between of those two loops, and I'm going to be grabbing the back loop. Next stitch, the back loop, next stitch, the back loop, and so on. Okay, so starting from the first stitch, grab the back loop and work your first single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and keep working for a total of 33 single crochet back loops only. I have worked my 33 single crochet in the back loops only. Okay, now we're going to start row number 3, which is the last row that we're going to start on camera. Chain 1 and turn your work. Now again, we always want to be grabbing the back loops of the single crochet. So what you want to do when you turn the work, you want to look your stitches on the top again and grab the back loop of the single crochet. 1 on the first stitch, next stitch, the back loop, 2, next stitch, 3, next stitch, 4, next stitch, 5, and keep crocheting for a total of 33 stitches on the back loops. Now I'm going to finish my rib stitch off camera. Always start your rows with a chain 1. Always work on the back loops of the single crochet. This way you have this nice rib stitch over here. See how stretchy it is? Okay, I'm going to work a total of 60 rows, 33 single crochet on each row, always working on the back loops of the single crochet. When I finish my 60 rows, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue. I've completed working my 60 rows. After the last single crochet, chain 1, cut your yarn and fasten off. Okay, I've worked my 60 rows, and this is why when we work with single crochet, we prefer this to be the rib stitch. See how stretchy our work is? This is what we want to achieve. Now, we're going to turn our work horizontally. It doesn't matter if it's on the one side or the other. There's no right or wrong, okay? And what I want to do now is I want to separate. Firstly, let's take our base. And what we want to do is measure with our measuring tape from the one skein to the other, and it's 11 centimeters. Now, depending on the size you're crocheting for, the width is going to be different. So for European sizes 39 to 41, I have 11 centimeters. Okay, so what I need to do right here in order to achieve this part of my slipper, I need to crochet a total of single crochet that are going to be 11 centimeters on the rib stitch that I worked. Now, when we go back, when we take our measuring tape, okay, and we measure a total of 11 centimeters, I have as a result a total of 26 rows. But when I worked a total of 26 rows and I measured my work, it had gotten wider and it was about 14 centimeters. So make sure you do not make that mistake as I did. What I had to do is I should have gone back to my sample that I worked, and I know that my 5.5 centimeters give me, my 10 single crochet give me 5.5 centimeters, and I need to reach 11 centimeters width. So here, instead of 18 centimeters, I'm going to put 11, and I'm going to work my equation, And when I do 111 divided by 5.5, the result is 20. So I need to start with a total of 20 stitches. Now, depending on the size that you're crocheting for, the total number of rows is going to be different. In this case, we have 60, and I want to separate in the center a total of 20 stitches. This means that I need to have on the left and on the right side equal amount of rows. Okay, so out of the 20 stitches that I'm going to separate, out of the 20 rows, I'm left with 40 rows. This means that the 20 rows are going to go on the left side and the other 20 rows are going to go on the right side of my work. And I'm going to have 20 in the center. So let's start by counting 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. Okay, start from the 21st row, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be crocheting one single crochet on the first stitch of every row. So we're going to attach our yarn. So grab the yarn and pull it through the stitch, chain 1, and under the same stitch we're going to work one single crochet. This is my first stitch out of the 20. So 1. Okay, now we want to grab the first single crochet of the next row, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and keep crocheting for a total of 20 single crochet. I have worked my 20 single crochet. Now, referring back to the pattern, right here the pattern tells me that I need 14.5 centimeters, a total length over here, to have the right length for the foot in order to adjust it around the sole. But this is wrong because I worked the 14.5 centimeters and my piece was a lot smaller by about 2.5 centimeters than what I wanted. So what I did is for every size I'm going to add 2.5 centimeters from what the pattern tells me. Okay, so 2.5 centimeters for my 39 to 41, so a total of 17 centimeters, 2.5 over here for a total of 16 centimeters, and so on. Okay, so I need a total of 17 centimeters length for this piece over here to adjust correctly on my slipper. Now, also the pattern tells me down here the row of decreases that I need to work. Okay, for a size 39 to 41, I need a total of 10 rows of decreases. So what I need to do, I'm going to go back to the gauge that I made, okay, and I need a total of 17 centimeters, the total length of this piece over here, okay. Out of those centimeters, the 10 rows are going to need to be with decreases. So the 10 rows I know, sorry, let me turn to the English information. So the 10 rows give me 5 centimeters length. And I need a total of 17 centimeters. So this means that I'm going to work, since the 10 rows give me 5 centimeters, okay, and 10 rows are the number of rows that I'm going to need for my decreases. This means that I'm going to work 12 rows, 12 centimeters with one single crochet in every stitch for a total of 20 stitches, okay, 12 centimeters in length. And once I reach those 12 centimeters, I'm going to work my last 10 rows, which are going to give me my last 5 centimeters for those 17, okay, of decreases. So I hope this helps and I'm not confusing you. It needs some math, but it's very easy once you get the first once you get it the first time and you know how to work the gauge that you made, it's going to help you very easily to crochet your slipper. So I've worked my 20 single crochet for the first row, and for every row that we're going to start now, I'm going to be chaining 1, turn the work, and now we're crocheting regularly in the stitches, okay? 1, next stitch, 2, next one, 3, next one, 4, next one, 5, and keep crocheting for a total of 20 single crochet. Now, I want to crochet this piece up until I reach 12 centimeters, counting from here, from the first row, okay? Once I finish crocheting 12 centimeters, 20 single crochet each row, I'm going to turn my video back on to work my 10 row of decreases. I've reached my 12 centimeters. I have a total of 24 rows of single crochet, and now we're going to start crocheting our decreases. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a stitch marker right over here in the last stitch of the last row where I worked all my single crochet. Okay, so I know from which row my decreases will start. Now, chain 1 and turn your work. Now for all adult sizes, the way that we're going to work the decreases together, that's how you're going to work the decreases for the adult sizes. We're going to be working decreases in every second row. For the children's sizes, you might need to work decreases in every row, depending on how many decreases, how many stitches you want to decrease in order for the work to sew correctly around the base. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be working the first 2 single crochet together and the last 2 single crochet together as well. So put your hook in the first stitch, grab the yarn, hold the loop on your hook, put your hook in the second stitch, grab the yarn, hold the loop on your hook. So we have crocheted in 2 stitches, 3 loops, grab the yarn, pull through all of those 3 loops. So those 2 stitches just became 1. Okay? Now keep crocheting 1 single crochet in every stitch. 2, 3, 4, up until you're left with the last 2 stitches where I'm going to turn my video back on to crochet them together. I've worked my row, I'm left with my last 2 stitches for this row, and so far I've crocheted 17 single crochet. Okay, now put your hook in the single crochet in the second before the last stitch, grab the yarn, hold the loop on your hook, put your hook in the last stitch for this row, grab the yarn, hold the loop on your hook. So we've crocheted in 2 stitches, 3 loops, grab the yarn, pull through all of these 3 loops together. Okay, so in this first row of decreases, we're left with 18 single crochet out of the 20 that we had so far. Now chain 1 and turn your work. Now this is the 2 out of the 10 rows of single crochet of decreases that I need, okay? My pattern states that for this size I need 10 rows of decreases. So this is the second row that we're going to start now, and we're going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch for a total of 18 single crochet, starting from the first stitch. 1, 2, 3, and keep crocheting for a total of 18 stitches. I have worked my 18 single crochet. Now we're going to start the third row for the decreases. Chain 1 and turn your work. Now in the third row we're going to work decreases, and we're going to be left with a total of 16 stitches. So we're going to work the first single crochet together, put your hook in the first stitch, grab the yarn, hold the loop on your hook, second stitch, grab the yarn, hold the loop on your hook. We've crocheted in 2 stitches, we have 3 loops which we're going to close together. Okay, so those 2 stitches just became 1. So start counting 1, 2, 3, and keep crocheting up until you reach your 15th stitch. Once you reach the 15th stitch, we're going to work the last 2 stitches together. I've crocheted my 15 stitches. Now we're going to work together the last stitch, okay, our decrease. So put your hook in the second before last stitch, grab the yarn, hold the loop on your hook, put your hook in the last stitch, grab the yarn, hold the loop on your hook. So we have 2 stitches, 3 loops, we're going to crochet together. So this is my 16th stitch. Chain 1 and turn your work for the 4th row, where we're going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch for a total of 16 single crochet. 1, 2, and keep crocheting for a total of 16 stitches. I've completed my 4th row for a total of 16 stitches. Chain 1 and turn the work to start row number 5, where we're going to work decreases. Okay, so crochet the first 2 stitches together, put your hook in the first single crochet, grab the yarn, hold the loop on your hook, put your hook in the second stitch, grab the yarn, hold the loop on your hook. So we have crocheted in 2 stitches, 3 loops, which we're going to crochet together. Okay, so 1, 2. Okay, let me redo my decrease. Okay, so I'm crocheting my first 2 stitches together. 1, 2, and keep crocheting 1 single crochet in every stitch up until you reach the 13th stitch. The 2 last stitches we're going to work together, and we're going to have a total of 14 single crochet in the end of row number 5. I have worked my 13 single crochet. Now we're going to work the decrease together. Put your hook in the second before last stitch, grab the yarn and hold the loop on your hook. Last single crochet, grab the yarn, hold the loop on your hook. We've crocheted in 2 stitches, 3 loops, crochet them together. Chain 1 and turn your work for row number 6, where we're going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch for a total of 14 single crochet. I've completed row number 6 with a total of 14 single crochet. Now we're going to start row number 7, chain 1 and turn your work, and we're going to work our decreases. Okay, we're going to crochet the first 2 single crochet together. 1, 2, close the 3 loops together. So this is my first stitch. Keep crocheting 1 single crochet in every stitch up until you reach the 11th stitch. Then the 12th stitch, which is going to be the decrease, we're going to work it together. I've worked 11 stitches. Now we're going to work the last 2 stitches together. Put your hook in the second before last and in the last stitch as well, and we have 3 loops. Close them together. So we worked our decrease in the end, and we have our 12 single crochet. Chain 1 and turn your work to start row number 8, where we're going to do 1 single crochet in every stitch for a total of 12 single crochet. I've completed my 12 single crochet. Now we're going to start row number 9 by chaining 1, and this is going to be the last row where we're going to work decreases, and we're going to be left with only 10 single crochet in the end of this row. So again, work the first 2 single crochet together, 1 and 2, and crochet the 3 loops together. So this is my first stitch. Now work 1 single crochet in every stitch up until you reach the 9th single crochet, and then I'm going to turn the video back on to work the 2 last single crochet together to give us the 10th stitch for the row. I have worked my 9 single crochet. Now we're going to work the last decrease by crocheting the last 2 stitches together, the second before last and the last single crochet for the row. Okay, close all the 3 loops together, and we have 10 single crochet. Now chain 1, turn your work, and this is the last row for the slipper, okay, where I'm going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch for a total of 10 single crochet in the last row. I've completed my 10 single crochet. Now in order to finish, chain 1, cut the yarn, pull the loop and fasten off. Okay, and I'm going to take out the stitch marker because I don't need it anymore. Now what I'm going to do is, what we really have is a T, okay, the letter T. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start crocheting 1 single crochet in each of those 20 stitches, 20 rows that I have left on the right side. Then I'm going to turn my work going upwards, come around down, and finish right over here. Okay, and those stitches are going to help me to sew the slipper, the crochet part on the base. So let's start. I'm going to attach the yarn in the first single crochet of the first row. Grab the yarn, pull it through the stitch, chain 1, and work 1 single crochet excuse me, in that same stitch. Okay, now keep working 1 single crochet in the first single crochet of every row. 2, next one, 3, next one, 4, and keep crocheting for all the rows that you have made over here. Once you complete crocheting here, turn your work and continue by working 1 single crochet in the first single crochet of every row that you have. Okay, this is where you're going to be putting your crochet hook in. And we only work 1 single crochet in every stitch. We do not want to work any extra stitches in the corners. Okay, keep working 1 single crochet, then 1 single crochet up here for each of the 10 stitches that I've made. Go downwards, 1 single crochet in every stitch, and complete the work by crocheting 1 single crochet in each of the last stitches over here. We are only working around here. We don't want to work on the side or the top part of the slipper. Okay, once I finish working around, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue with the slipper. I have completed working all around, and I've completed over here. As I mentioned before, I turned my video off. What I'm going to do now, I'm not going to fasten off my yarn. I'm going to turn my work sideways. I'm going to fold the rib stitch in half, and I'm going to join together to close this part of the slipper. Okay, so I want my crochet hook to be on the front, fold in half, and as many single crochet you worked in the beginning of your rib stitch, that's how many slip stitches you're going to have in the end of this row. So put your hook in the first single crochet on the first side, on the front side, first single crochet on the back side, and work your slip stitch. Okay, let me redo that slip stitch. Okay, so when you work the slip stitch, you want to grab the yarn and pull it through both stitches and the loop that you have in your hook. Now put your hook on the second stitch on the front side and the second stitch on the back side as well, and work your slip stitch. Third stitch on the front side, third stitch on the back side, and crochet together by working a slip stitch. Okay, so once I finish working all my slip stitches up until the end over here, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to sew the crochet part on our base. I have completed working my slip stitches. After your last slip stitch, after your last slip stitch, chain 1, cut the yarn and fasten off. Okay, now this is going to be the top part of my slipper, and all this around is the part that I'm going to sew on the base. And because here's the scheme where we worked our slip stitches, this is the wrong side of my slipper. So what I want to do is I want to take my base and turn the inside out. So I want the furry part to be on the bottom. Okay, where I have the scheme over here is the heel of my slipper. So the scheme where I worked my slip stitches is the heel of the slipper as well. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead all around and match it with the base, and I'm going to attach some pieces of yarn right here in the corners, here where I started the decreases, and on some stitches all around to hold the slipper so it's easier for me to sew it around. Okay, once I match the whole part, the whole slipper, I'm going to turn the video back on to see how to sew it. I've put some stitch markers here in the corners of my work just to make sure that I'm stitching in the correct places. So once I stretch out my base, the stitches are sitting correctly on where I've put my stitch markers. Okay, now we're going to start sewing all around the base. But what we want to do, it's very important, we want to sew the stitches on the outside of the base. This way, when I turn the inside out, the stitches that I've sewn, they're going to be on the inside of the slipper, so it's going to look nicely on our foot. Okay, so I have cut a pretty long piece of yarn, and what I want to do is I want to adjust the scheme of the slipper to the scheme of my project, of my crochet work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my needle from the back to the front on the hole that's on the right side of the scheme, to the stitch that's on the right side of the scheme on my slipper. Okay, now I'm going to put my needle on the left side of my scheme on my crochet project and on the left hole of the scheme of my slipper. Now what I want to do is I want to bring out the needle on the next hole, and I want to grab the stitch that's aligned with that hole. Not all of the single crochet that you've made are going to be stitched along with the holes on the base, okay? Just grab the single crochet that's aligned with the hole that you're stitching. Now, we want our work to be on the top, on the outside of the base. Okay, now put your needle right here where the next hole is. So grab the single crochet that's aligned with that hole. Bring your needle out on the next hole and grab the single crochet that's aligned with that stitch. So we're stitching on the single crochet that we've crocheted in the last row all around. Okay. So again, in the next stitch, you want to grab the next hole, so grab the single crochet that's aligned with that hole, bring out your needle, and grab the single crochet that's aligned with that hole, and sew them together. Okay, so I'm going to keep sewing the same exact way, and when I finish sewing the rib stitch on the base, I'm going to turn the video back on to see how to sew the stitches right here on the side, because on the rib stitch it's very easy to sew, but here, because you have to stretch out, you have to bring down the row of the single crochet that we made all around. I want to show how it's being done. I have completed sewing the stitches for the rib stitch, and now for the rest of the slipper all around, we're following the same steps. We are aligning the single crochet, the row of the single crochet on the outside of our base, and we stitch with the hole of the base that every single crochet aligns to. Okay, so keep sewing. Grab, we want to sew the next hole. Bring out your needle on the next hole of your crochet. You can grab the next single crochet that's aligned with that hole and sew the stitches together. Okay, next stitch. Grab the single crochet that's aligned with the next hole. Bring your needle out from the next hole and grab the single crochet that's aligned with that hole and sew them together. Okay, and see, if I stretch out my work to the first stitch marker that I have over here, how nicely all the stitches align together. Okay, so keep sewing. Always bring your work on the outside all around. Right here, the same thing. Bring the row of the single crochet outside of the holes of the base and sew them together. Same here. Okay. As well as over here. On this side as well, you want to do the same thing and finish by sewing the last stitches of the rib stitch on your slipper. Once I finish sewing all around, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how our slipper looks completed. I have completed sewing all around, and this is how my work looks like. Okay, I've brought both of my yarns, the one that I started and the one that I completed sewing around, and I've worked a knot. Okay, make sure you do not tighten too much because you don't want your project to shrink, your stitches to shrink. Okay, so now let's turn the inside out and see how our slipper looks like completed. Okay, this is how our slipper looks completed on the one side. On the other, the sock up here, you can fold it in half. Okay, you can wear it with the stitches all stretched out or fold it in half as I just did. And this is how our slipper looks like. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and if you like the video, please press like and leave a comment. I would like to give a big thanks to Magenta Art Workshop for sending out this beautiful material to make our slippers. These are made very easily. You can make a pair in a day. You can even make more than a pair, but you can surely make a pair in a day. They're very fast, very easy, and very warm. I think for Christmas this is the best gift to give to your loved ones. Again, thanks for watching. Bye bye.